Welcome back to Ultimate Alchemy, and I've been on a bit of a performance hunt before I actually decide to get on with things, so hopefully you should see the performances a little bit better. First of all, I turned on forced multi-threaded chunk rendering in the Forge options. So if you go into mod options and Minecraft Forge, into config, and then it's in client settings, you can basically force it on here. Force threaded chunk rendering. Turn it on to true, and you'll get much better performance. I also added this sampler mod, so if we press F3, you'll see a graph along the bottom of the screen. I can't get rid of those spikes, so if anyone knows what those particular spikes are, the small vertical green ones, more than welcome to hear about it, to be honest, in the comments, because I had a look around, can't actually get rid of them. But other than that, the performance is running pretty well. The lower the actual, the sort of level of that graph, the better it actually is running. And everything is looking pretty good now. The other thing I installed was lag goggles, so if we just press insert for that and we can show the scan results. I did a fair bit of optimization just by moving out these overclocked generators out here, because they do, well, the more stuff you add to them, the more they cause problems. You'll see this one is only a tiny amount of seconds per tick, but the more of them you have, the worse it gets. And you can see which ones are the problem chunks in the sky, and you know, some of this automation for diamonds. Also, if we just hide that for a second, you'll see that some of the sources of this kind of slowdown in performance over time is things like translocators. So too many of those on permanently, and you can get some issues. So I just did a bit of performance hunting. Didn't want to cover that too much in depth, but if anyone's got any questions or having any issues, you're more than welcome to ask them in the comments. However, today we're going to get to the Wither Skeleton Skull, which should be actually fairly straightforward. I just need a chisel to get started, and I actually want a bone block. So do we have a bone block? Oh, can we craft one? Just craft one. And because we only need one Wither Skeleton Skull, it should not be terribly hard. There we go, one Wither Skeleton, well, one Skeleton Skull, I should say. The Wither Skeleton Skull, on the other hand, needs touches of evil, if I remember rightly. Yeah, drops of evil, sorry. And we need to get those first. So to get those, you make TNT, and that produces 5 gunpowder always, and then a 1% chance of a drop of evil. TNT, on the other hand, is made from gunpowder and sand. Fine. So I think I'm going to start just by getting a quick exporter, and we'll just craft one, because I'm just going to want to export sand from our system into a crafter. And we'll just use, even though we can use the crafters from refined storage, I'm just going to use these crafters instead, just to get it done. I have also turned off the majority of this just by changing them to redstone on. Again, these were all adding a little bit of time every tick just by processing stuff. Even stuff like a hopper trying to insert stuff constantly will add some time, but this should be fine. So I'll just put it over here because we've got a cable available. I've done some rearranging as well, just starting to replace old style furnaces, the boring vanilla kind, with the redstone furnace kind. And this just works perfectly well. So we're going to want to export into a crafter, I would have thought. So let's just put a crafter down. I'll probably have to get rid of this cable for a second. So let me just get rid of that now. There we go. And we can just put an exporter in, and that should, yeah, that should connect with. It also acts as a virtual cable as well, so we can control what we actually want in there. And now I'm just going to get to the bits and pieces. So the gunpowder, we're actually going to be fine about, because we don't need to craft it. It will be supplied back to us after we change TNT, hopefully, into something lies a little bit more evil. So let's just get some sand. I've got 88,000 sand, so I can turn off the sand machine at least for now. And so we want 5 gunpowder. There we go. And 4 sand. And that makes TNT. Good. We can leave that to always on. And we have an input inventory and output inventory. So output, we're going to want to push down into a machine of some kind, or are we? Because this can pull from a machine. So that will be interesting. Let's put a pulverizer down anyway. Put it on the bottom. And is there any power connection? There is one very close by. Yeah, there's a cable right there, but nothing into this thing. So why don't we just knock a hole through the floor and make sure this is cabled. There we go. And let's just reset the inputs and outputs just to keep everything nice and safe. And where is my energy conduit? There we go. So let's just pop that in place. Bring this up and round. And for now, we'll just run it into that line. That's coming from our main power sort of area, which is all the way over there now, just to keep it out of chunk range of anything else. Because I used to have 2 overclocked generators right below here. I removed those, and there were 3 more just below the back. So just to get them out of the way, that sort of helped. But the main thing that really helped is that multi-threaded chunk rendering. Okay, so this will be able to auto pull input, I think. And if we just set this going, there it goes. All right, this is going to produce, and then it's going to basically output to here. And then we're probably just going to want to send it back. There we go. We're going to want to send this back upwards to go to the top, and you can't really do that because you can't set this to both input and output. So the easiest thing is just to get and just keep things actually to full-size blocks. If we just get a larger chest. Yeah, it's just slightly larger than the regular chest. I actually like these because they actually fill a full block space. So you see there's no gaps around the outsides of them, which is why I also did this. And also you can right click them and see what's in them, even when they are underneath other things. So they're no different than barrels, really. They just occupy full block space. And we don't necessarily need this to be fast, but because this machine's going to actually be the slowdown, to be honest. So why don't we just go for something ordinary? In fact, no, we do actually want to speed this up. Yeah, because it's only a 1% drop chance. So we could just put more gunpowder in the top. That would certainly do it. Just to make sure it is actually queued up. So there we go. And that's going to start producing TNT, which is going to come at the bottom. And then we'll actually, in this case, actually do use the translocators. There we go. And it's going to be fast enough. You're not going to need the glowstone option. You really, really aren't. And it's going to be coming out the left side, so we just need to make sure we configure everything. There we go. And set this to go left. All right. And then the output here at the bottom is going to be, because this is only selecting the top slot at the moment, the output at the bottom is going to be the drops of evil. And if we just I'm not sure if you can put 2 things on one area like that because they're a virtual cable. I would hope so. Can we just get an importer? Hopefully we can. And pop you right there. No, that's annoying. Because I can't really just remove that because that will also remove this exporter. So we'll just grab it from somewhere else. Is there any sides available for me to actually grab this from now? The back, but that's being used by this fermenting barrel. So let's just, can we output the front? No. Okay, fine. I will just find a way to work around that. I think I'll just put the power connection onto a different side or something, and we'll use the bottom instead. Okay, and as far as augments are concerned for the polarizer, I'm just going to grab a reception coil. But what I also want is to see if this auxiliary sieve works. Essentially gives an extra chance of a secondary product, which is what we're looking for. So we'll grab that and a conversion kit, just to the first couple of tiers. And you can be upgraded. And then we'll just put both of these in. Great. And do we already have any drops of evil? So I didn't have any in the system previously, so nothing there yet. I also created a platform out here, you may have already seen it, for maybe to move some of the magical stuff out away from the main platform. So we're going to need some kind of building for that, so why don't we just have a building? Yeah, that'll do. Seems like an appropriate building, doesn't it? Down it comes. And here's where we find out if I've calculated this right. If you're wondering what's doing this and why we're getting a giant building just being magically created around us, this is the RF Tools builder. It's inside this block here. You'll see I've got it set up to create a hollow box, and the dimensions and the offset. You have to do a little bit of work to actually figure that out, but it does actually create for us. And I've just created a sort of frame here that I may have to delete in a second because it's going to enclose the entire thing in. And that's pretty much done now. So we can just head back out. I pretty much like the ability to do that. So rooms on demand, and of course plenty of room to put further sized floors inside. And there, of course, we have the building from the outside. So it looks pretty fine for the moment. It's not very decorative yet, but yeah, we'll get there. Anyway, we also want to look at Thaumcraft. Now, you can go and play through Thaumcraft as you normally would, but this pack is really more about getting automation done. So I thought we'd go for the automated option really here, in that you can go for this, the Alchemy cheat sheet. Now, it's not available at the start of the game. It is basically to avoid the research game that Thaumcraft 6 has, that if you don't really want to go through the research game every time, you basically throw a piece of paper into an Elven portal and you get this cheat sheet back. So we just right click it to read. And you get a lot of notifications. Now, before we get much further into Thaumcraft, we're going to want Night Ore, and Night Ore is made fairly straightforwardly with your Crucible, and you just need to drop various items into it, of course, but you can go for either glowstone and coal, in which case you'll get excess, other materials. You can get a little bit less excess if you go with torches and coal, but in my case, I'm just going to go for both of these. And then, is that everything? No, I wanted drop you in there. There we go. We got some Night Ore, and we drop some more. We get some more Night Ore, and we can just hoover up the rest with some quartz slivers. And there we go. All clean. Nothing excess. Nothing leaking into the atmosphere. Pretty good by me. And of course, we get some census over, and you can reuse that in other means. So we got yellow Night Ore, and of course that does mean I can actually get rid of that lava. I'm just going to bucket and get our Night Ore. Yep, I don't need that bucket. We can just put Night Ore back under there, and that should work perfectly well as a heat source for the cauldron, the Crucible even. Yeah. So, seems to work just fine, and it's a little bit nicer and more magical, I guess you could think. And of course, it's a lot more portable. So if I move stuff over into there, I don't have to carry lava around all over the place. Cool. While we're at it, we can also craft the Everfull Urn, and that may be a way to do the Botania sort of filling of filling of this. We have over here. I had problems. I had to keep bucketing stuff into our Petal Apothecary. Well, the Everfull Urn used to do this, so I thought I'd give it a go anyway. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. And to do that, we're just going to need a few different pieces of various bits and pieces. Well, yeah. So we're going to need the Everfull Urn. We're going to need 30 water. We're going to need 10 Terra and 10 Fabrico. Terra is easy. It's just stone. You get 5 per, so 2 pieces of stone is fine. Fabrico, you get 5 from each piece of wool, but you also get 15 bestia, so you've got to get rid of that somehow. And similarly for water, but you can use water buckets for the rest, and we'll just, basically absorb the rest with the quartz slivers. So let's get all this stuff in there. And there is our Everfull Urn, and then we'll start getting the stuff back. Okay, so the Everfull Urn works just like you might expect. If I take water out of here, it immediately refills it. That is if there is water in the urn. It does refill itself automatically, so it can take a little while. And if you do this again, it... well, I can't actually get rid of this. No, I don't have another container for it. Anyway, it will actually refill. It just may not do it instantly. But certainly for the first time, it will be fine. Let's just put that back in there. We don't actually need this anymore. In fact... I can get rid of both this and this now, and that's much cleaner. So again, if we move that over into the building, we'll be able to get on with that just fine, without a need for another water source, really. Now, we don't want to keep doing this over and over. We want an actual better way than this Crucible to actually get our essentia. So we need a couple of pieces of wood, in particular, great wood and silver wood. Now, we don't get the option to go and find those trees out in the wild in this pack, so we can actually take some silver. take some lead, and we can transform them just using a smeltery and wood in our typical setup. We should be able to get great wood out of this. It's making great wood logs, as you can see. Now, how long that will actually last with the actual supply that's in here is something else. So using 1 ingot per piece of wood, that's good. All right, so once that's finished, we're going to swap out the metal in there for silver. Do the same thing, we'll get silver wood. Okay, so to go further, we need a few things. Alchemy Alembics is the first thing, and you used to be able to pile these up like 4 or 5 high. I can't remember whether you can still do that or not, but to get that, we need essentia filters, which need silver wood planks, and we need great wood planks anyway. So if we go into our system now and get great stuff, yep, we should be able to get planks, so we'll just get a stack of those and silver wood. We'll just do the same thing, get 1 stack. And then we should be able to get some gold. 1 stack will do for now. And we can also craft this, which is the essentia smelter. Take some brass plate, a crucible, furnace and cobblestone, etc. Etc. even. And that will work just fine. And then we also want the filters, essentia filters. And why don't we make 8 of these to start off with. And of course, this will start depleting the fuel that we are able to use here, but that will work. And then we've got to decide where to actually put this. But first, we need the alembics. So that needs this recipe. So great wood planks, brass plates. We just need a bucket, I think. So let's just split this around. And brass plates I have. Essentia filters I also have, and we just need some buckets. So let's just craft a few of those. Let's say 4. Okay, put this in the middle. And now that's actually fairly expensive to actually make them. I'm not sure whether we can stack up 4, but we'll give it a go anyway. And then we want to put this down somewhere. This is the center of the room, even though the lights are off-centered at the moment. So I'm going to put this towards the back. And if this is the center line, yeah, I'm getting hallucinations already. Then we want to probably put them at this end of the room and that end of the room. Not quite at the end, but let's just say we want, so if that's the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will make a 13 if I go both ways from the center line. And then if I say put it here, okay, and we want a little bit of night ore as well. If I have wireless transmitter, I have one right at the entrance door here, but it's still really short range compared to other mods. So night ore, yep, we've got one of those. We'll be able to make more soon, don't worry. So let's just put that down, and we put the essentia smeltery on top of it. And then if I remember rightly, the Alchemy Alembics on top of that. And I'll try it with 4, but if that doesn't work, then that's fine. We can always do this with just a few. Do I need to enable it, or is that already enabled as far as this is concerned? Easiest way to tell is just to put something in it and something to fuel it. Now, I would normally make alimentum for this, but in the meantime, wireless transmitter, I need to just move it. It is literally underneath that door right there. Let's just go for coal. Maybe, charcoal, I've got more of it. Okay, charcoal. Yep, and that is, or should be going up into the alembics, and I may well get 5 tall. I seem to remember this used to support up to 5 anyway. Yeah, and we also get some other stuff in there as well. Peditio probably. And we need to get rid of that somehow now. And to get rid of it, we can pull this out of the sides. Now, the old way of doing it used to be that you had pipes connected to these, and they'd pull out into jars. However, there is a new mechanic available. Yeah, here we go. So, filling essentia transfuser needs a dispenser, alchemical construct, some iron plates, some brass plates, and little bits of V. And we should be able to make something that will essentially wirelessly move essentia. So in order to do that, we need alchemical constructs. And I'm going to need at least 2, so we might probably want to make more than that. Lots of iron plates, great with planks, which we already have, and it needs essentia tubes and essentia valves. Essentia tubes are... Does it need to be purple stained? No, any kind of glass should be fine. Alchemical brass nuggets and quicksilver drops. How do we get quicksilver in this mod pack? Quicksilver. Okay, quicksilver comes from Shimmerleaf. Yes, that's how you get it traditionally. But how are we going to get it in this pack? The only way to get the drops is through the regular quicksilver. So it's mercury into a gem clast, and mercury is just silver in a fractionating still. That's remarkably weird, I guess, but it works. And I don't think we need the fractionating still for the nickel anymore, which is, I think, what it was using. Let's go and have a look over here. Is that fractionating still? Yes, it is. And it was making iron, which was being used, well, actually, yeah, the iron was being supplied to it, and we were doing something else to make nickel. That's fine. We'll actually reuse this and put it down somewhere else. I didn't even need to move the tell anywhere else. It just works fine once you replace you replace them down so that the silver can be taken, and then that gets put into the fractionating steel. Same setup, and it goes into a casting table with a gem cast on top, and that should then feed it into our system. So I should get quicksilver in here. Yep, I do, and of course we can change that into quicksilver drops. Into 18 of them. So we've got that component, and then we just need some other bits and pieces, some more alchemical brass, which I'll need to make. And what was the essentia valve? It's just essentia tubes and some levers, so I just need to make essentia tubes essentially. And why don't I make, I don't know, a couple of batches of those. Okay, with the tubes and the valves made up, we can make well, that's quite expensive, so I'm only going to make 2 of those, I think. And let's empty most of this out. And then we should also be able to make the other things. So we're going to need, what was it again? Filling, they're called. Filling essentia transfusers. Dispenser, alchemical construct, and some brass and iron plates. So brass plates, iron plates, alchemical construct, and maybe we'll actually make more than one of these things. And what was it? A dispenser. So a dispenser we'll make in this regular system. Need a couple of bows. And a couple of dispensers it is. In there we get filling transfuser. And I'm out of, is that air? Air crystals? Air. Yeah, I've got plenty of those. There we go, so we've got 2 of them. And we're also going to need some warded jars. These are very simple recipes, just a wood slab and some stained glass panes. So we can just take all of these out and get some glass panes. And let's put away some of this other stone stuff that I don't need. So let's just get a couple of stacks of you and slabs. Do I have any slabs of wood? I do. Great. I'm not going to use a lot of them because this could be quite expensive. And again, our amount of V is falling off. But I will fill this up. And to get started, let's just take a few. Let's take 4. We're also going to need some paper. And it's not that kind of paper, it's a different kind. I may need a recipe in Thaumcraft itself. In fact, they're not called paper, they're called labels. Yeah, there we go. And it is just paper and a slime ball. Do we have that in the system? Yeah, and 4 of those. Okay, so now if I put these beginning around about here, and we put these transfusers here, it should start feeding outwards into the jars, which is a good point of storage. So now we can just label them, and it will basically keep these jars to being just that one element and nothing else. You can also upgrade these to void jars, And the void jars basically will fill up till they're full, but then any excess will get deleted, essentially. And you just have to put that through with the per DTO back in the workbench. Now, I tend to just leave them like this until we see, you know, one actually being filled up to excess. And then if it flows over into another jar that isn't labeled, yeah, you can sort of fill one jar and put a void on it. Or in some cases, you want a particular kind of essentia to have more than one jar available, because these go up to 64. You may want 120 for a recipe, etc. So you may want to just manage that. But you manage that pretty much manually. And I think these have like 15 or 16, something like that kind of range they can fill up to. So you can see why, for example, if I have the center here, if we fill this up all the other way, on the other end of it, i.e. the same kind of position that that is, I'm going to put the improved version of the Crucible. The Crucible, on the other hand, needs the other kind of essentia, whatever they're called, you know, the filling ones? These, the transfusers. There is also emptying? Yes, emptying transfusers, so they'll pull from the jars. Only difference is you only need a hopper, but we are going to need some more alchemical constructs, so I'm going to need to craft a couple more of those. And on this side, we're going to take that, the alchemical constructs, pop them down, 1, 2, and then we need Salus Mundus. And then we're going to then attach the stuff to this side, I think, and they should be able to draw from. These are the bottles, well, warded jars. We're going to need a little bit more nitor. Whoops. Need to increase the range of that because it's terrible. Nitor. So I have one more piece left, but we can always craft more of it, because once we have this running, we should be able to. All right. So we should be able to click on this and then change this into other stuff. So if we just grab some glowstone. There we go. And we should be able to change this into more nitor, I would have thought. Yep, I want nitor. So it's going to need essentially Ignis, Lux, and Crystallis, I want to say, maybe. So we're going to need to put stuff in over here to start filling up warded jars. And so I should start thinking about actually making more warded jars, but we're actually a little bit low on... Oh, no, actually it's recharged. That's fine. So let's put them here. And let's just grab a lot of jars. 9 should do for now. And we'll just start putting them... Well, actually, let's just feed them all the way along to here. Yeah, that was nice. Although I am going to need more, probably 2 or 3 stacks. And we should be able to feed stuff in here to start filling jars. My mistake, I thought these held 64. No, they seem to actually hold quite a lot more. I'm assuming 256 instead. Maybe that's a change. Maybe that's always been the case. It could just be my faulty memory. In either case, we're going to put glowstone in here, and that will give us some lux, 10 lux per glowstone. That, of course, will feed into these jars. Now, at the moment, only one of these seems to work. That one certainly could work, but it isn't seeming... or at least it doesn't seem to be able to process more than one element at once. Maybe that's a higher tier of Essentia Smeltery. There are more tiers, I just haven't got to them yet. There is a Thaumium tier, and the Thaumium tier takes the earlier tier of Essentia Smeltery, along with another construct and some Thaumium plate. Thaumium plate is just Thaumium, and Thaumium we can actually make now directly using these improved versions of the Crucible. We need Precantatio, and we need Terra. Terra is probably easy, it's just stone. Precantatio, though, let me just check. I can never remember. I'll move this off camera. Precantatio is going to be, well, we can combine it, but something fairly straightforward to craft. We're not going to throw blocks of mana diamond at it, that much is for certain. We want something simple, and nor do we want nether stars. But some sort of tools will probably do it. Let's have a look. Nothing yet. Yes, mana steel we could. Let me find a suitable option. Okay, and we can now produce more nitor if we want to, just by putting glowstone in. But in the meantime, I want to switch that to iron and change it to thaumium. as a recipe. Why won't you let me do thaumium? Probably because I had nitro selected. Okay, and off it'll come over here from where it's being currently broken down. And it's going to pop out of this front face right here. Yeah, so I think I'm going to just put an ender chest right there. And that should take care of that. That should go into our system. And in order to produce more, we're just going to need a few more pieces of iron. There we go. And it should start getting pulled from here. Not sure if you're going to see the animation every time, but it is a pretty cool animation once you see it at least once. Yep, that's produced enough, so we need some thaumium now. I have moved the wireless transmitter, so it is available. There we go, and we got 2 thaumium. We're probably going to need another one, aren't we? Because we're going to need some thaumium plates, and they're going to get compacted, so let's just put some more in here. And let's go and put our thaumium plates, or thaumium, that is, into the compactor. That'll make plates, presumably. Yeah, let's just convert them all across. And we should get the plates we need. One more, that is. And that will get us the next tier of essentia smelter, the thaumium essentia smelter. Yeah, and this is slightly more efficient. It releases less flux into the atmosphere. Unfortunately, it's not a precise process, so yeah, it does have a bit of a problem in that it's a bit polluting and we're indoors. So I want to move up to the next tier as soon as possible. And I'm going to head and go and do that. So we need another alchemical construct for that, unfortunately. And I'll have to craft some other bits and pieces, but we'll come back and craft this on camera once it's finished. And I clearly was misremembering. This is the other thing. There's a machine over there, so we don't need any kind of nitro underneath. It's only underneath the other side that we need it. Underneath the crucible side. This side is, of course, supplied with fuel already, so we don't need that. Do I not have anything to... There is a wireless transmitter in range. It's right there. It's not even enough to cover this one room. Although I do need to put range upgrades on that one, so that will solve it as well once I do that. Okay, and then we're just going to take the existing one from here. Yep, I've got some fuel left over, but that's not a problem. Pop it into place, and then we just need the 2 brass plates that have been crafting. There we go, and it's 217V to actually craft that. Ouch. Okay, so I'm going to need to wait for it to recharge a little while. And there we go, we have 217 available, so I can build the second tier. And there is a third tier as well, but that needs void metal, which I don't think I have actually set up yet. But let's give this a go. I'm going to put charcoal in the bottom, and let's see if it will actually do more than one element at once. Let's just actually try it with something like a, I don't know, maybe a pickaxe or something simple to craft. Yeah, it's got 3 different elements on it, so let's just craft a couple. And will you do more than one at once now? You still seem to be applying more than one at once. And you are still polluting a little bit, but apparently this is 90% instead of 80% efficient according to the book. So we'll see from there. Again, I could just be getting this wrong, but I don't really see much sign in there of multiple things happening at once. Did I pick up other pickaxe? Probably didn't. And I did make more labels, so we'll be able to see that. Okay, and all these jars, of course, will also be used for infusion crafting. We need to craft the infusion altar, which will go in the center of the room, assuming it's in range. Otherwise, I'll need to move it back a little bit and have like a forecourt sort of crafting area, maybe, and some sides areas. But we've got the water jars set up, and they should get pulled automatically into the infusion altar. Speaking of the infusion altar, we're going to need these pedestals made with arcane stone slabs, which is actually pretty easy to make. It's just any V crystal at all, surrounded by stone, and you'll make lots of these. You can make them into slabs and everything you like. And this will make 10. I'm actually going to need more than that. So let's just... I'm going to need 13, I think, total. So let's just say it's going to be 6 per one. So Let's just make that much and then put it through here. And, well, actually that's going to make more than I was expecting. Whoops, miscalculated. That should do, I think. And then I've got to remember what the actual recipe to make this thing is. It's something like this, and then you put any kind of block in the way temporarily. Like arcane stone, doesn't really much matter. Make the runic matrix, and that's just another very simple crafting recipe. Matrix. Just some nitro in the middle, and arcane stone bricks, and the bricks are just for arcane stone. And then you put the runic matrix on top. Knock the block out in the middle. And then I have to remember whether it's bricks or regular blocks around the outside. Let's try regular arcane stone, and if it gets it wrong, then it should be easy enough to just replace. 1, 2. And then it's just Salus Mundus or something like that, I imagine. Okay. And there we go. We've got the infusion altar. And then around the outside, you want to put your pedestals. You want to need 12, and I can never remember how much range you've got for these, so I'm just going to put them like this for now, and we can move them one further in if we need to. And there we go. So we've got the infusion altar set up, and I need to make it brighter in here, so I'm going to put some nitro around, I think. Maybe make it a little bit more thematic. Let's just put it down for now in the corners. I need to make a little bit more, of course, but you get the idea. And then we'll fill in some more light as and when I can. Okay, so we've got the main crafting altar, the runic altar. It should pull from here if they're close enough. We'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's 12 radius away from at least the center of these, and hopefully it's good enough. And of course, this is the actual recipe we're working towards now, the dragon head recipe, which will let us make draconium. And that's got, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 ingredients, so 12 pedestals, which is exactly what we've got, which is good. I don't need to put any more of them. And then it needs some tenebrae, some spiritus, and alienis to make the dragon head. So we'll have to get those as well. There are a couple of repeats, however, so it's not quite as difficult as making 12 things. So, you know, you've got at least 3 repeats. I can see 4 repeats, and then, or 5 repeats even. Yeah. And it's only really the dragon hide, the zombie brain, which is easy. We can make tallow now with our new smelter, well, not smelter, our new improved crucible over here. And we'll be okay to continue next episode, I think. So I hope you enjoyed this one, setting all of Thaumcraft's more advanced elements, and next episode we'll get into actually using them. I'll probably put up some more notes over here on next to my refined storage system, so we know what we need to actually craft. And that is a good point. Did we actually get those touches of evil, or drops of evil? Evil? Yes, we did. We get 27 of them. So we can make the wither skeleton skulls. Fairly straightforward now. Evil, and then it's the industrial grade evil, isn't it? And we just need a fluid transposer, and we need to melt that, presumably with a magma crucible. Yep, so typical kind of thermal expansion machines, and easy to get done. So that one can go away, because we can craft it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episodes. Feel free to give it a like if you have, give it a thumbs up, etc. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to see more of these notifications about these episodes, feel free to click on the bell or follow me at Twitter @Greatester. And of course, as always, put your comments in the box down below. More than happy to hear your suggestions. Otherwise, see you next episode. As always, guys, thanks for watching.